It is now 7 a.m. where I am. Manchester United has played against Wolves today at Old Trafford. They played a little late here at 12:30 a.m. and they finished around 2 a.m. But I just had to sleep immediately after watching that because I didn't want all my anger to be seen on camera. So yeah, it's a couple hours after I had a couple of times to get my thoughts in rationally. Yeah, what a way to start the year. Manchester United has just lost to Wolverhampton Wanderers at Old Trafford 1-0. Now, I don't want to talk about the play-by-play today. If I could, I'd rather talk about the Chelsea against Liverpool that played the day before. It was one of the good games of the weekend. I'll just get all the mandatories out of the way. The best player of the match was Daniel Podence, especially in the first half. He was really, really dangerous on the left side of Wolves attacking. And yeah, it was obvious that Aaron Wan-Bissaka was the one that was targeted. He had good shots, a lot of dribbling, forced a few saves out of the head. But yeah, that's all I want to talk about. I've talked about Manchester United this season having a non-Manchester United performance, or how I've said there was nothing noteworthy out of the game, or there was nothing noteworthy to talk about in this half and that half. But today was the lowest of the low. Today was the worst of the worst. This was a relegation team performance. Sometimes I talk about them as if, this wasn't a top 4 performance. This wasn't what we expected from Manchester United. This was relegation performance. We offered absolutely nothing. If I could take all those 14 players that played today and just take them off, I would. The next match we have, I just don't want any of them around. I could remember 3 things that happened for Manchester United, and it was all involved Bruno Fernandes. He came on and immediately he had a shot that hits the post. He had a pass straight after to Cristiano Ronaldo and he puts it wide. And he had a 96th minute free kick that was blocked. There was nothing else. There was nothing else to put in the highlight reel, if there were any. There's all three things. Those 3 things. It was disgraceful what has happened here today. I wanted to turn the TV off after 45 minutes. That was the worst of 45 minutes I've ever seen from Manchester United's side. And every player today has to be ashamed of themselves. I didn't see any of the Ralf Rangnick pressing that we were, that was so talked about. There was no pressing. Wolves had more of the ball, won all the 50-50 challenges, had more shots on target, looked more dangerous, looked more organized. They had an actual shape. Their players know when to be, where to be, when to press, the press triggers, and how to press together as a group. Our players were static. They think if they played their 4-4-2 and they just dropped back and do nothing, the ball would come to them. But no, the opponent dominated us the whole entire first half, the whole game, to be honest. The players, what they did was lazy. They did not press. The opponents were dominant throughout. I could have been on that pitch. I could have been among these 100,000 per week players. I could have been there. I could have played the way they played, and I would have stayed 90 minutes. They was lazy. There was no pressing. There was nothing. They offer absolutely nothing. Every time they touch, they had the ball. They had 1-2 touches, 1-2 passes, and then they lost it. The passes they made were so flimsy, as if the ball was made out of bricks. Their passes was just, it was so, the way they passed it, it was so weak, you know. They lost the ball so many times. I don't want to get into individual players because they all played horribly. They don't deserve a mention. I don't even want to talk about the players or the tactics or the managers because it was horrible throughout. Yeah, every time they had the ball, they would lose it. I genuinely did not think we had any passage of play in the first half. I don't even think we had a shot on target. I don't think Jose Sa, the goalkeeper for Wolves, had touched the ball other than when he has to take a goal kick. It was terrible. It was dreadful. There was nothing. I felt insulted as a fan watching that, and I watched it for free. I can't imagine what all these Old Trafford fans that had to be there, and they paid, and they watched this 90 minutes performance. I'm surprised they didn't boo. I mean, I don't condone booing your players, but that was worth performance of, that was worth. We need to get them riled up because none of them played with any passion. I felt like that Chelsea fan, a few years ago with that viral video of just screaming no passion, no determination. Honestly, that was what was happening today. For Manchester United, it was no fun to watch this for 90 minutes. Oh, what about the neutrals? I mean, I enjoyed the 2-2 draw Chelsea and Liverpool did as a neutral. I didn't support either team, but I really enjoyed the way they played. But for this game, even for the neutrals, it was absolutely boring. The Wolves, they played really well today. Give credit to them. They played today. Their attacking was really good. Daniel Paden's Adama Traore, when he came on, was really dangerous. He played the widest out of all the Wolves' attack when he came on, and that was more dangerous because all of them was really narrow today. But he was actually the one who assisted the goal. Well, he was very important. He had played an important role for the goal. But no, other than that, even Wolves they didn't really offer any, shots on target. There was nothing to, pump up the blood, nothing to excite us. It was really ridiculous. And for these players, I can't believe this. I can't believe some of these players are playing for Manchester United. I can't believe the performance they've been putting up. The Newcastle game, this game, and even some part of the Burnley game, it was really, really non-deserving of a Manchester United shirt. I don't understand. It's just they can't handle the pressure of being in a big club. I'm not saying Manchester United is the biggest club in the world right now, but I just feel like they can't handle the pressure of being in Old Trafford. They can't handle being in one of the known club as the big clubs. I feel like even watching them against Burnley, I could feel like if these same 11 players are playing in a mid-table club, in a club with less pressure, they would perform to their best week in, week out. But players just go in out of form. They play well one game, they play horrible the next. It's just they can't handle the pressure of constantly being really good at Manchester United. And so many things wrong today. And if there is anything to sum up how horrible today has been, if any of you didn't watch the game, and if I could say something that would instantly click of how horrible Manchester United has performed today, is that the best player on that pitch for Manchester United is a player that hasn't had a game in 2 years. The best player on the pitch for Manchester United was Phil Jones. I'll see you next match.